So with that, I'm going to roll into the conversion show today with an e-commerce founder, marketer, growth leader, and someone that many of you probably already know, given he has 22,000 plus followers on LinkedIn, and really was one of the kind of early into DTC with golf. So no one else but Sully Tyler from BombTech Golf, former BombTech Golf.
That's right.
So welcome to the show.
Weird.
Sully.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
That's my
just finished 18 holes. Sorry.
Of course. Did you use your own golf clubs?
Bro, you're gonna ask that? Of course, dude. They're the best. They're legit. Yeah, that's the easy part, dude.
Did you use
my golf game's not great though.
Did you use the 4.0? Is that what I saw they recently released?
Yeah, so I end up using all the prototypes that have no design elements, that are like bare bones, and they keep me stealth on the course because I don't want everyone to know. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm still figuring out." I don't tell them I own and sold BombTech, because then my game doesn't go well.
So now that you have so much free time, when you go out in the course, are you getting? I mean, that's the other thing. It's kind of lonely at the top, in a sense. Like you can't just call your buddies up to go golf at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. What is it, Tuesday? Are you?
It's Tuesday, I think.
How do you handle that?
It's a weird problem to have, and I feel it feels weird to even say that's a problem, that you have all this time, post exit. And luckily there's enough people working remotely that end up on the golf course. So today I had, two other guys that were able to play with me. I got tee time Thursday with two other guys, Friday, same thing. So it's actually not been too bad with remote work post COVID. I think that's one good thing, is people are living life a little bit, golfing more. And it gives me more people to hang out with. But it is a weird thing when you build a company from scratch. And I had no expectations when I started in 2012 of it becoming anything. And then to go from that's your baby, 20-hour days, literally 7 days a week. I was assembling the clubs in my basement. I mean, in 2013 or 14 with a newborn upstairs. And to go from that much intensity, and that's your only thing for 10 years, to then sell it. It was, everyone's like, it's anticlimactic, you're gonna feel weird after. And it was the best move for me financially and for my family. But I have moments where I'm like, I feel like I want to try something again and do something. I think as an entrepreneur, which I was an accidental one, I think that's just something that never goes away. You're not done when you exit. I always want to build things. So I have like 3 other projects I'm just working on that I'm trying to get traction in. But for BombTech at that time, with the growth I had, with COVID being so good to golf and ecom, it just was good timing for me with young kids to say, okay, let me take chips off the table, put some money in the bank, and enjoy Tuesday's 18 hole and then do an interview.
Well, as we look at sullytyler.com, we'll call this a champagne worthy podcast today.
I like it.
So, if you're listening in, pull up BombTech Golf, pull up Sully Tyler on LinkedIn, you'll get the whole breakdown. And if you pull up BombTech, you'll see a few things that stood out to me. And what I like to do is look at the trends that are popular today, but also that are the foundational to get people to success. And the 5 truths I'm seeing today as we look at conversion optimization is, when you arrive on a site, trust, shipping, returns, customer service, and price. To me, these like the foundational of what you need to speak to. It's when it comes to consumer psychology. And you go to BombTech and you've nailed like the core ones right away. The trust is the most important. Can you talk about, you have your story front and center. You built something you were passionate about, and you told that story. Building trust, being DTC. I imagine when it came to your marketing, there was a fair amount of social, whether it's Instagram, whatever, to bring awareness. As we looked at three
Mhm.
pillars of conversion or lifecycle marketing, driving traffic, awareness, conversion, and retention, the reviews stood out big on your side. Can you share with us, your viewpoint of what drove your success and how important the reviews and your story was to your success?
Yeah, I wish I could say everything was planned out and I decided to do those things in a meticulous, I'll do this and this will happen. But my story was very organic and like accidental with like, I kind of just followed the traction, right? So my story, I just had no budget to hire people or to send out products. So I just put myself out there and became the guy. But I was truly obsessed with hitting the ball as far as I could. And it never felt like work because I just started made a website because it was fun. Started documenting what I was doing. Just kind of wanted to do this because I was curious and kind of treated it as I'm going to try this for fun. Didn't expect to make $1. I just kind of documented my journey on Facebook early days, like 2012. Like I'm going up to UVM. I'm going to ask them if I can design a driver with them. I did, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me design a driver with 5 students, and I went all in. So everything I did, I was just like, this is fun. Let's design a driver. Then I was like, I'll cash my 401k and just make samples. And so I did things that I don't know if I advise other people to do. But I was lucky that other golfers enjoyed my personality and who I was and could relate to me as like a regular golfer. And I think like reviews and tactics to get reviews, I think it's always more than the tactics. Like I actually cared about the customers and would take every phone call, answer every email, and I learned who they were, what they wanted, and I did that for years. And because I really just wanted to truly wow them. So I would do crazy stuff when I had no money, I was broke, and I would send them like a free club if it got, you know, missing in the mail, just because that's how I wanted to be treated. So like that spilled over to like our customer service guys. And now we have like a post-purchase Facebook group, thank you voicemail, thank you videos, thank you handwritten cards. So all these things that yeah, you could say, hey, get a shit ton of reviews and you'll sell more products and have higher conversion. Yeah, that's cool, but it's more of like I'm building a real community. I'm actually really caring when it matters to the customers, not just saying it and having lots of reviews and building more than just a physical product that's awesome, but a real like, community. And like if someone sees another guy, they like go right up and start talking about it because they feel like it's more than the product. So I think that's why we have almost, I think it's 20,000 plus reviews now, 16 something thousand, 5-star, because not everything in e-commerce and life or business goes perfect, but we just do whatever we can to say, okay, we'll do whatever it takes to wow you. And over time, I think it's pressure over time and performing and wowing them over a period of time is why we have so many reviews. And, I think that's just a piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean? If you really care and do that, all these other things will happen.
What I'm hearing there is the foundation, which is critical, is that a leader that puts customer experience first.
Yeah, and everyone says they have great customer experience, but there's a big difference when you like really wow them. And like the only 2 guys I have in-house that are full-time employees are customer service, which is usually is everyone's the opposite.
Mhm.
The only people they outsource are customer service to like, cheap labor. Those are my most expensive in-house guys, and it's because they golf and they love it. So it's like it seems like a no-brainer, but I think those little steps allow us when we do send an email to get reviews. And not to go on a tangent here, but I think too is like from day one, you talk about my story. I use that, and I don't use that story. I just was having these conversations in email on Facebook, and I was talking like you and I are talking one to one, and I was doing that in email. So every customer felt like we had a relationship one to one versus being like, let me design this sexy email about how BombTech's so big. And we were like, and here's a newsletter style email versus so we went more raw, authentic, and just trying to have conversations that allow us the opportunity to talk to them. And if we're lucky, we'll sell something to them, you know?
It's that strategy. I mean, you mentioned one-to-one personalization, which is so critical today for the on-site experience. But it's that to grow your company, everyone thinks it's this it's this big broad thing, but it's really, if you focus on that core, the core center ball, and then expand from there, you have a much healthier business and sustainable business as you move forward. And that's what it really looks like you've built, and you've proven it is by investing in that customer, you can build long-term sustainability, and you are self-funded too, which to me, that's how we've always grown our businesses, is it forces you to grow in a sustainable manner, invest into the right areas. On that subject, if you, let's say, we were talking about maybe starting a new company, or with the clients you have at Sully Tyler, if you had an unlimited budget, what would you invest in like next or today to grow the online revenue if you were back in the driver's seat?
I've always operated bootstrap and what makes profit. And, one of the reasons I went to exit too is like, I kind of did the best I could and had a high revenue for a small company and high profit. And I didn't, even with more cash, and that's one thing I went over and over. It's like, well, what if I did raise money? Could I grow this to 100 million, 200 million, like some bigger number?
Yeah.
And that was never how I wanted to roll. And I don't think I have a good answer for that, because I always wanted to spend $1 and get 5 back. Like that's how I always operated up till the end. And, I don't know, I wanted cash in the bank, cash flow, and not be too heavy on inventory. So we would sell out quite a bit. So I was really bootstrapped. And I remember I took my parents gave me a $10,000 loan, which I paid them back, obviously. And then I took PayPal working capital loans, because at first I was like, oh my God, I'm selling all this product. This is great. Then I'm like, where's the money? And I was like, I got to go buy more inventory. And I didn't realize, because this was just totally not planned. I didn't really understand physical products, but I knew I had something there. I didn't really realize like you can do, a couple $1,000,000 in sales and have no money because it's all in inventory. So once I paid back those working capital loans and was debt free, I was like, I'm not, that's not me. I'm a conservative guy. I think I got that from my parents, who always owned a restaurant, and just, I don't know. That's how I roll. So I don't know if you gave me 100 million, 10 million, if I could grow it in a better way, it'd probably be not spent well. So I like businesses that you can spend $1, get 3 back, and make profit. That's just how I look at it. And nothing's shown that I can change that,
Well, it speaks to the unknown of, would you have been successful if you had money? Because you may have not focused in the right areas. So, maybe for people that are today, that are strapped, it's actually a competitive advantage. So if you have limited resources, where would you recommend, if we talk about life cycle marketing, we talk about driving traffic, conversion, the retention side, email marketing right now, I know you're doing a lot of work with that. Of those 3 pillars, where would you say like companies should be prioritizing today? Equally, separate? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think there's 3 things. There's offer, community, and email. So like that's how I would think of it at a high level if I were to try to break it down. So, the offer is, if you're like, we were a single product brand for a long time. We just had the driver. And so we had to come out with additional products that were not product replacements to, drive more revenue from our email list and current customers. So do you have another product line or something that's not necessarily a replacement? So like, I wouldn't come out with just another driver if they already have drivers, right? So can you do it? And this is harder than it seems to be. It's like, oh, I'll just sell a putter or wedges or a bag, and you'd be like a no-brainer. But that's not always the case, which I found out. So how I would implement this if I had some traction is I would just use plain text email. So I already have my list, have some customers, and I would ask them, and we do this all the time. In the most simple way, you'd be like, hey, can I get your vote or can I get your feedback? Or even write questions, subject line. I would just say, I'm thinking about making 2 different products, a 64-degree wedge and a chipper. Can you vote or reply back with A for the chipper, B for the 64? And I'll tell you what, I'm so cool. I started a golf company. Guess what? I never get it right. They always tell me what I think it's the opposite of what I think would launch well. And so, for example, I was like, oh, 64 will crush. Everyone's got the other wedge lofts. No brainer. And then we got like 95% voted for the chipper. And so this was like, this is a bigger strategy of how to use your email list to have conversations, but I would use my list, have questions, ask questions to my customers so I know what to launch next. So the likelihood of that to happen is higher. And then what I would do is a micro launch, which is what we do a lot, where we do, okay, so let's say everyone voted, 95% voted for the chipper. Let's do 400 units, 300 units, maybe 10,000, depends on the size of your company. We do a small order run that didn't take a lot of cash, to your point of being strapped. Because I wouldn't want, and I have another story I could tell you after about a failed launch. But so I would do a micro launch. I would launch it via email, minimal ads, and just see how it sells. If I sold through that 400 based on my email size over 3 days with follow-ups and texts and stuff, I would consider that a success. And then I would make 5,000 units. So that's like how I look at. And if I were to launch a new e-com brand today, I'd do the exact same thing. I would do a small sample order, maybe 50 units, send it out, get some UGC, get some product photos, see if I can launch and sell them. And then I would do a micro order and then a bigger order. So I would never just let me raise money or take some cash from my exit and just buy 10,000 units and hope for the best. That's just not how I would do it,
Well, it's that groundswell story of, you mentioned community. It's getting your customers involved in the process and engaging with them so they can help you innovate the product itself. So they're part of it. Kind of like, it's Kickstarter. When did Kickstarter start?
I did do one Kickstarter. So it was before my time. But I did use it once. But yes, it's the same concept. But for some reason, I think a lot of people just think as the founder, maybe they know what product they should launch, and that's logical. But I think once you truly let go of the ego and embrace like why you exist is for the customer and let them help guide you. And I'm not saying I read every Facebook comment and say, oh shit, we need to listen to everyone that comments on Facebook, because that can get hairy. But if you do it in a direct channel way that you have a good relationship, like email, that is something that if they're telling me this, I'm getting thousands of replies, then guess what? I know that's going to be pretty decent, And the one failure I had, well, not one of many, was I launched a product that was beer related, and it was like beer putt. It's like beer pong for golf. And I was like the 2007 frat beer pong champion. So I thought this is going to kill it. I love this product. And we couldn't sell it to save our lives. And I never went through and asked the questions to our customers in email. I never did any of this. It was when I was like 5th year in, was a little cocky, thought I knew what they would want. And I just didn't take the time to ask the questions. And, for me, it's just like, it engages them, it gets their real feedback, and it gives you intel. It's like, why wouldn't I do this all the time? But and one thing to say with the strategy, you can't just never do this and just hammer someone with a question email. You have to train them and talk to them like this over time. So it's like, if you have a list where you've been burning and saying promo, deal, sale, and then you want to do that, it's going to be hard for that list to know what's going on and your customers. So you got to kind of, if you're going to do it, embrace the strategy and all your, email marketing.
So you mentioned you're engaging with these customers through your email with the simple basic text email, which I love. We used to do when we do blowout snowboard sales of old inventory, we just do get your 70% off now and just be a hyperlink. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work. When we talk about the on-site experience, would you work to engage those visitors either once they click through the email or just any general visitor arriving to try to solicit feedback through a survey or other means?
I didn't really have success with that, to be honest. I mean, the biggest channels was email and then the group. And the group, I had 3 groups at one point on Facebook. But the group that was most successful and we ended up keeping was the owners only group. So it's a post-purchase. And again, very simple, one email that says, I don't know exactly what it says. It's like, hey, you're awesome. You should come join all the other bomb tech owners in this private group. No one else is allowed in, and it's just a link. And then they go to the Facebook group, and it's just owners. So that's another channel, not necessarily that we own. Email's like the only owned asset, and they can throttle reach on the group. So not saying it's perfect, but at least in there, it's like the guys post their own questions, they talk to each other. So when I ask a question, I'm like, hey, we want to come up with this launch, that's another great place that's not email, but it's social, that we can engage and have those questions. I haven't done a ton of I know a lot of people do these quizzes, feedback, and using pop-ups. I never really got that deep. I did do back in the day when we were custom, like a driver fitting. And that was cool and worked well, but I was answering every form myself manually at one point. And we went away from custom because we couldn't scale the volume there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I never really got that down the path with that. I kept it simple, and just used email and the Facebook group.
As we talk about, zero and first party data is a big trend right now, with third party cookies going away. The choose your own journey is something we're hearing it's gaining a lot of popularity. You mentioned you would do the kind of the custom club type thing. Did you have a chance to start experimenting with profiling your customers and building segments of knowing, skill level, etc., to try to market with them?
No, we nearly did not. I think for us, though, our product offerings kind of did that for us because we went from a world of fully custom, almost catering to the mid to low handicap guy. And then I think when we decided to go out for the more basic regular stiff 10.5 and 9 and remove all that, I think that did it for us. I think if we were a bigger shop, and again, my own views on capital and cash flow restricted that. I've said, you know what, I'd rather have less inventory that we can have barcoded, not custom, that we can move versus having more options, more SKUs, and more inventory tied up and doing less volume of those. So I really leaned it down and was very terrified to make that decision, to be honest, at the time, because we were all custom for so long. But for us, that allowed us to scale. So I think we used the product offering to almost filter that for us. So we did at that point, that went away for us.
That's really interesting. In the snowboard world, we'd call it the quiver killer. Like you mentioned, your friend in the ski world, and what I'm recognizing right now is that also allows you to focus in on marketing that one product. And with 4,600 reviews on one club, you don't have 10 clubs to choose from. It's one club, so you can narrow in those reviews to that one product.
We could have got real weird with all the products, and that's how it started. And I realized, I just didn't want to get in that game. So we kind of did it I don't know what the word is. We did it with hesitance to make the move, but for us, it was one of those moves where we made it, and it was well received. And I think that launch I'll never forget the day, because we had 6 options on our add to cart. When it was custom, it'd be loft, shaft type, flex, length, all these crazy things. And then I said, how few can we have? So most of our products are just add to cart. Some have one option, which is flex. And so that move there actually reduced a ton of friction and increased conversion by so much. That was a huge win. And I almost was too deep in the golf game that it would hurt us. So it was almost, that was a hard one for me to swallow, but having less options from a conversion standpoint for us was huge. Keeping it simple, and showing the product. I see a lot of apparel sites that's 10 million options and colors and drop downs and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm buying. So I think for me, simple has always won, over and over again. The more I simplify things and less complicated, just it seems to be easier, because a lot of times these are impulse buys. People are flying, their kid is, running over there doing something, they're trying to buy a golf club, so it's how simple can we make this? And let's make it simpler,
Oh, prior to our recording here, Sully and I were talking about, if we were to start a new company today, what would we do? And so what we're really kind of touching on right now, the trends of the consumer. They don't want too many options. So if you're looking at your new product line, and most importantly, you're looking at your product page, take a step back and put yourself in the hands of your consumer. Show empathy for their purchase journey. Communicate what needs to be communicated, the core foundations that really Amazon really brought to the market of, if we celebrate what Amazon has done, which you mentioned there, how do we make it so damn simple to check out?
I think there's two things too, though, with D2C that I would, so you want simplicity on the ability to check out, don't make it complicated. I love on the checkout page and you have like 15 payment options. It's like PayPal, Venmo, this, it's like too much. But I think the big thing too is copywriting, which is, again, is not visual, but just talking directly to your customer in their voice. And I mean, I did the copyright myself and I'm awful at writing, but you're speaking to that customer. I think copywriting and all the CRO testing that we do is messaging based. It's sometimes visual, but it's like, as long as you have the reviews that are legit, you have a solid guarantee that's visible, you have clean product images, maybe a video if you need it, but then it comes down to the messaging, right? Like I think, so like I have a new brand idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I've made a store and all I'm working on is not the design. I mean, I did design it. It took 2 seconds, but it's the copyright. Like, who am I talking to? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a product for myself again that solves my own problem and just talk to that person. And if people resonate with it, great. And I think when you do that, you're going to be polarizing and some people are going to hate it. And I think that's good. So I think that's one of the biggest levers when I look at a product page is the copy specific enough to piss someone off? Then I'm doing good.
Well, the authentic voice. And,
Yes.
I see Bomb Tech, you're like the disruptor, stick more greens for less green, no pros, no retail, just premium clubs without the premium price tag.
Yep.
The other benefit there is SEO. It's so funny. I love seeing what you did here because, we had snowboarders, right? When we had our snowboard company, we literally had our snowboarders during the summer months in like 110-degree heat in Sacramento riding snowboard descriptions. And we did it so that it wasn't just the manufacturer description, which every other retailer uses. And so we spoke to the customer, gave them info they really needed, but we also had the SEO benefits from it.
Yeah, I don't understand selling on just like that's one thing Amazon can do because they're so big. They could just have, the minimum specs and stuff. But I think if you're D2C and you're not speaking authentic voice and talking to that customer, I think you're missing a huge opportunity. And I would encourage you, because every win we've had from a conversion side that was significant came from tweaking those elements of copy and writing in their voice. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how, if I built an e-com brand today, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm writing copy, that's going to offend some people, that's going to talk to my target audience, and then building the product around there versus the other way. It's like product specs, features. It's like, wait a sec, that's not what gets it done. It's not, we aren't Amazon, and that's one benefit of not being them,
Well, it's funny, we've been talking about copy a lot lately, conversion copy. And, looking at the foundation you have here is You want to be able to offend, talk to your target, and kind of wrap in the product. When you say, can we dig into that a little? The offend, what's the Sully definition of offending your
I mean,
customer?
I don't want to ever offend someone on purpose, right? But I have found that when you're on the internet and you're putting yourself out there on a Facebook ad, anywhere, someone's gonna not like it, right? And I'd rather have someone who's not a good fit, not like what we're doing, versus be vanilla in the middle and try to please everyone, because there's no money in the middle. So if I'm trying to please everyone, hey, we do everything for everyone, no one's gonna care, right? So like I just stay in my lane, do this one thing well, talk to that one person, piss a lot of people off, and that's okay, because I don't care about them. But if you just want to please everyone, you're going to please no one, and you're not going to sell anything. So that's when I think of like, and I'll never forget, to give a better example. We run tons and tons of money on Facebook, and we would get tons of comments from people that didn't like us. We didn't make left-handed product, we didn't do certain things that they wanted, we didn't do custom like adjustable driver, whatever it was. We offended someone. And but then our customers would come and comment like, oh, well, we don't want that. This is what we want. This is why we exist. And the polarization is healthy for ads, because if someone's commenting on them, it's actually lowering your cost per click and your cost to acquire. So it's like, people used to always come talk to me about like, oh my God, have you read the Facebook comments? And I'm like, yeah, I know they're brutal, but they're helping us. So it's a crazy thing to think about. You would want ever to offend someone, but it's not really about that. It's just we're not building something for them. We're building something for someone else. And if no one reacts or engages or cares, and you just please everyone, you're never going to make a sale and you're never going to exist. So for me, it's like, I just did it because this is what I wanted to build. And then I built it with the community and we offended some people, and it's more of a polarization and standing up for something you believe in and being okay that not everyone's going to believe that. Maybe a better way than offend.
I would always say, I don't care what you say, just make sure you drop a link back to us.
There you go. Exactly.
So
amazing.
it's like, I kind of understand the offend. It's more of, look, this product may not be for you, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
We know
100%.
who we're building for. That's really cool. And you're speaking to your target and you're wrapping in. Yeah, we don't make left-handed clubs. Sorry, we're not for you. There's not enough money in it for us. We're a self-funded company.
And exactly. And we would do those things and like make certain products based on that. And then we would try to sell them. And every time they didn't sell. So there was, and I think it's easy if you're starting out to really go 50 different ways and try to please everyone and make different things. But I think if you don't have passion for what you're doing and actually care about it, you're not going to have enough conviction to go one direction or not. So you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? So I think that all starts with the foundation and passion. But yeah, from a conversion thing, it's okay to offend someone.
Looking at your product page, I love you hit a core foundation. You're talking about copy, and what you have there is you're communicating that your orders ship in one business day. It's like shipping is still the number one reason people abandon carts, why they Apple to do Amazon, because they know they're going to tell them when it's going to arrive on the exact day, etc. Your warranty, the trust, and the 60-day guarantee, it seems like that's everywhere. Was that a big, no pun intended, driver for your business?
Yeah, that was a huge learning from when I was doing phone calls early days. And I would talk to guys that were genuinely interested in the product. And they're like, where can I hit it? Where can I hit it? Where can I demo it? Are you going to be in Florida? Are you going to be in California? I'm like, wait a sec. I was like, what can I do to let these guys try the product? And, because I can't be everywhere. And when I would do a demo day, I would go and maybe 6 golfers would show up. I'd sell 1 club. I was like, I'm not going to make any money doing this. I can't be everywhere. So the guarantee for us was like, at least giving confidence that you can go try it, beat it up. If you really don't like it, send it back. So that was my workaround. And I don't think that really existed back then. You know, this is 2013. I think I came up with that guarantee. And you know, it really worked well. You know, once we did that, but you know, there's situations where we help guys out that's past 60 days, you know. So it's like we just want you to try because we know it's that good. And if
Yeah.
you really don't like it, send it back. No big deal.
You know, we talk about trying to scale up a retail business, which is so difficult to do. Some of the trends I'm hearing here is, you know, and it goes back into the bootstrap model, is like you said, your 60-day guarantee was more out of saving money from having to go to these unsuccessful demo days, which costs a lot of money between travel, hotel, and to sell, you know, take that those marketing dollars and put it into potential returns. The simple product line is still standing out to me. You know, for people looking to start their own brands right now, strip down your SKUs. And in the one, you're doing it because it costs so much to build the molds and production and inventory. But the benefits are you have less products for people to review, so you get more reviews up.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. Like if I were to launch a new ecom brand today, I would do one product, honestly, and just do it well. And that would give me enough firepower to get reviews, you know, UGC, third-party YouTube video reviews, and just prove if that brand and really that brand positioning, copywriting, if that product has product market fit and our branding, you know, and our position really, because I wouldn't make 10, 15 different SKUs day one, because I mean, that's just more options that you're not going to sell. So I always go with one product, see if there's proof of concept, and then go for, and then if it does well, guess what? Launch a different product to your audience that you now sold to. And that's the easiest way in my mind. And that's just how we did it. It was just very simple. Like, we're selling a ton of drivers. We're like, hey, what do you guys want next? They're like, irons. I'm like, all right, let's make irons. Then I was like, hey, what do you guys want next? They're like, wedges. They're like, all right, let's do that. And only time where I get a little sketchy is like, I want to make something crazy. And then I would just go to the micro launch. Like if I want to do a 72-degree wedge, which is like insane, I'd say, all right, let's make 400, 200. So I would just pare those numbers down in a new business, or if a bigger business, go bigger, but always micro launch and let your audience tell you what's up.
The micro launch. We got some good bits of info here today. The one thing we like to do is finish shows by asking our guests to pose a question to the next retailer. And
Okay.
you know, so prior to this, Sully and I were, you know, we're talking about, you know, ideas to launch new products, new brands, and how, you know, where trends are changing quickly. And, you know, are we the caboose? Do we even know what to do? Is what made us successful going to be successful today? So put you on the spot. What would be a question for the next guest that you would like to ask someone that's crushing it right now?
I mean, if they're in D2C and they're crushing it today, you know, it's always, where's the best return on ad spend? I think that's the biggest answer. And if it's outside Facebook, how? Because, you know, that's like at the end of the day, paid traffic, you need your email back end. But if someone's doing well on like TikTok or something like that, I'd love to learn more about how they do that. Because that's a channel we haven't crushed, and more channels you can crush is bigger you can get.
There you go. All right. We shall ask it.
Perfect.
That is the magical question. And how do I get more Shopify reviews?
That's a tough one. You want me to go into it?
I just read your one of your blog posts. And
Thank you.
I would study bomb tech if you're looking to how to do reviews. Everyone, that's a big common question. Well, Sully, thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. You got some knowledge from a kingpin of retail, who you can now actually leverage at what is it, sullytyler.com?
Yeah, so I have sullytyler.com is my personal site, and then I have an email marketing agency, Ecom Growers. So we do Klaviyo, email, and SMS, and I have some other things working, but those are under wraps for now. But in LinkedIn too, at I think it's Tyler Sully Sullivan there.
Great. Well, hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for upcoming. Just hit that like button, follow, whatever you do, subscribe. That's what you do, subscribe and podcast.
All the above.
Great. All right. Well, thanks again, Sully.
Thanks, man.